Hi guys. Tonight we're going to tie another pike fillet. So we're going to tie a pretty big pike fillet, and the idea is to keep it light if we can. So what we're going to use here is an RX P350 6.0, and this is a light predator hook. So it's a light wire, but it's designed therefore to tie big lightweight fillets without giving you the added weight of the extra iron in the hook. So as a 6.0, it's a pretty big hook, so it should allow us to get a fillet. I suppose if you wanted, you could put one out to 12 inches. So we're going to use our gel spun. And take that down the shank to about the level of the point-ish, and then for security I'm just going to super glue that tie in. So I'm going to tie it sort of like a hollow type fillet, but first what I'm going to do is put on a little bunch of blister type dubbing. Now I'm going to choose a red here, and I'm using quite a bit of it. So I get that twisted on, and then I'm going to put a blob of glue at where that's going to be tied over. Wrap and wrap and wrap. And then we're going to put a blob of glue into that when it's half tight, and then continue to wrap into that, and that will just glue that whole thing down, make it strong. So, odd looking, but if you have your hollow fillet like this at the back, you can imagine if a fish is following, then it gives it an extra little colour point in the back of the fillet for a fish that's coming from behind. So next we'll continue the flare by using bucktail. So we're going to use black bucktail here. I'm going to tie this in forwards and use the ball of dubbing that we made to flare the whole thing out. Wrap all through that, don't be too worried about how neat that looks. And then some super glue just to run into those tie-in points of it. So next we're going to use a mix of Lurexes. So what I've got here is a mix of pearls and holographic silver, rainbow and black Lurex. I'm going to take that out for length, allow that to splay around, and then fold it back on itself. I'm going to take another little bit, do it over here because it didn't just splay evenly for me, so I'll put an extra bunch on. And fold that back. Okay, so next we're going to take a bunch of our black, this is Icelandic sheep. I'm going to pull all that under fur out of it so that it doesn't add extra bulk to the fillet. And then I'm going to tie that in, tips pointing forward, let it splay all around the hook, separate that all out, and then just fold it back on itself. Stroke it all back into place. A couple of turns in front. This is some sort of a dog brush, I'm not sure what, but it's a bit awkward in size, but it's very good at separating out these sorts of fibres. So once I get that separated out like that, I'm just going to hold it back and glue the bases of the fibres, just hold them back a little bit until they start to set. And you can choose how much or how little you want that to flare out, as by pulling it tight back while it dries, or by allowing it to stay out further. And you can also pinch it flat if you want, so that then the volume is up and down, gives you that big profile that way. Right, next I'm going to add in a couple of pink hackles. So this is a saddle cape. So I'm going to tie one on each side. And then we'll trim off the bases of that. Now I want to take a little bit, this is a magenta holographic flash, so I'll take out a few strands of that, flatten it across the top of the hook, tie around so again it splays all around, and then fold them back as we did the rest of the materials and tie back over them. I'm also now going to get a little bit of Peacock Mirage. Same thing, 4 or 5 strands of that. This is not always that clear to see at distance, but whenever you get up close to a fly and start moving it, I think the Mirage really shines through and has a nice effect. Glue all these tie-in points, let that settle. I'll take a little bit of silver dubbing and dub it onto that wet glue. You can use dubbing brushes and all sorts of stuff if you want to move yourself up the shank. And then I'm going to take a black necklace. I'm going to take a bunch of that, pull the ends of it out so again it's not just a square cut. I'm just going to bed that as the rest of the things around the hook. Loose, turn on, tighten it up. Fold it back. A few turns in front. Glue that down. the other bunch and do the same then. Same idea, pull them past one another, throw them back on top of each other, and the tips end up misaligned. You could have added more flash in here if you felt like it. Again, let that fold around the shank. Separate it all out and fold it back. Finish that off like that. As you can see, I'm not tight up to the back of the eye here. I've left a little bit of space if you want, because we used a white tie-in thread there. You can just take a marker, colour it in black, pinch it tight, super glue that tie in, and then I'm just going to pinch that flat at the head. And the reason for that is because it's going to make it easier to put on our eyes. Just sort of preen those fibres out a little bit. And now I'm going to take, as per usual, Post-it pad, 5-minute epoxy. If I could get 2 minutes I'd use it. Put a little blob of each onto our Post-it pad, and then we'll mix that together with the cocktail stick. And then I twist the cocktail stick, and that gets me a blade on it. Use the cocktail stick to dig the epoxy into the head. And I'm going to put on these, which are like a holographic, they're like a zombie type eye, you know, they've no pupil. I'll push that down into my blob, and then I will flip the fly over and repeat the process on the other side. So I've got my blob of epoxy on my cocktail stick, dig that into the material, push the back lip of the eye into that, and we'll just line the two up. So now, as you might have seen me do on other flies, we're going to just rotate this as it dries, and I'm going to use my what's remaining of the epoxy, and I'll fill in the gap on the underside of the head there. Then let that run onto the front part, so the little gap that we left for our eye. And then we'll just rotate that until it dries, and I will reposition the eyes sort of as I go along with cocktail stick. I'll just keep sort of pushing them in until it starts to set. And that is our black and pink pike fly tied on light wire RXP 350. So as I said, we have a decent sized fly there. It's probably 9.5–10 inches, but it's quite hollow and sparse in the back, so that should give it plenty of movement and should make it easy enough to cast even at that kind of size. So as per usual, if you like what you see, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.